All right, today we are making my snappy pasta salad. I promise if you take this to a party, people are gonna be like, where did you get the recipe? It's got this kind of unexpected creamy basil lime dressing that we make in a blender and the crunch from the snap peas. And then because blood sugar balance is important to me, I tested this with my CGM. I'm gonna share the results with you and show you, yes, you can enjoy pasta salad without the spike. The very first place I like to start is cooking the pasta so it has enough time to cool off before we assemble our salad. Today I'm using brahmi pasta, which is a personal favorite. It cooks up just like regular pasta, doesn't have any weird aftertaste. It is lower in carbohydrates, higher in protein and fiber. And so this is already setting our pasta salad up for success. But of course, feel free to use a standard pasta in place, whatever your favorite shape is. Now you do want to also make sure to rinse your pasta, which you don't typically do if you're working with more of a standard sauce because you want it to soak up all that sauce. But in this case, we want the sauce to cling, not soak in. So by rinsing it, it kind of fills all of those little porous holes with water, making it perfect for pasta salad. Next order of businesses are snap peas, which if you have not had sugar snap peas, you're in for a treat. And I'm just gonna kind of chop them up. Now, if you wanna be super fancy, you can also slice them on a bias, so sort of at a diagonal, creating these fun little like trapezoidal shapes. All right, so next up is our red onion, and I will admit, I am not a huge onion fan. However, in the process of testing and developing this recipe, it was clear that it was missing something. It needed a little je ne sais quoi, and Mr. Simon suggested I go with a red onion, and I was like, I don't know. But I'll tell you, he was exactly right. Now we're not using a ton of red onion, and we're not gonna have like big old red onion chunks. I can't handle that. First thing though, I need to light a candle. I swear this makes it so I don't end up crying. If someone knows the science of this, please let me know. And we're just gonna finely dice this, like make them really small. I am a firm believer that smaller vegetables are more delicious. Oh, the tears are still coming on. This must be a really potent one. Or my knife is not as sharp as it needs to be. I promised myself I wouldn't cry in my first YouTube video back. But here's the secret. I learned this from working around a lot of chefs over a lot of years, is that we can cut the sharpness by just literally soaking them in water for about 10 minutes. I just put this to the side while I make the dressing. We've also got our little mozzarella pearls. If you can't find the pearls, usually you can find fresh mozzarella in some sort of form and you can just cut it down into little pieces. All right, wait till you get a load of this dressing. I actually have this as a standalone recipe by itself, along with my other favorite salad dressing recipes. That is linked down below, free download. And what I definitely recommend you do is double the dressing. You're gonna use part of it then for the pasta salad, and then save the rest of it in a separate container that you can put on salads. Like it's great in a slaw, or dip some carrot or peppers in it. It's so versatile and it just makes eating healthier a little easier. So we've got our fresh basil, which you can find at clamshells, or if you're lucky enough to have a nice garden out back, you can use that as well. But if you wanna keep this stuff fresh, here's how I do it, is I just stick it in a deli container or any sort of like plastic container, fill it up with regular old tap water, no big deal, stick them in there, and then cover them with a plastic bag. That helps to kind of keep some moisture in there, keeps it a nice, happy environment, and then keep this at room temperature. Do not put it in the refrigerator. You put basil in the refrigerator and it will wilt so incredibly fast. Now you are gonna notice I am an eyeballer from the way back. I have measured them very specifically in the recipe that you can download, but when I make it in my own kitchen, I kind of, measure with my heart. And so we're gonna do that here with the basil, although I do have a half cup just to kind of keep my eyeballs in check, because I can tend to go overboard. I want to take the stems off and just stick those straight in the blender. Then we got a 1/4 cup of fresh lime juice, which I am going to go all Ina on us today and say this does need to be fresh lime juice, that the bottled stuff just won't cut it for this particular application, because there is so much lime juice in this that the fake stuff is just going to taste fake and it's not going to make for a good dressing. Then we've got 2 tablespoons of honey. You can use regular honey. I am using the 0 sugar honey, again, really helping to bolster the blood sugar balance factor in here. But if that is not a concern for you, use the regular stuff. And then we've got our tahini, which if you are unfamiliar is essentially ground up sesame seeds a la a peanut butter, but it's sesame seeds. It's delicious. But this is the magical ingredient that makes this dressing creamy. About 2 tablespoons. All right, and my giant thing of avocado oil. Can you tell I like to use avocado oil? It is my go-to oil aside from olive oil. In this case, you could use olive oil, but I like the more neutral flavor of this because it really lets the basil come through, lets the lime come through, whereas olive oil has a lot more flavor to it, and so it can kind of take over. And I am measuring, look at me being on the ball. And a little half teaspoon of salt to get us started. All right, everybody in, let's blend. If you do find that it's getting too thick, like it looks like mayonnaise or yogurt, go ahead and pour in just a little bit of water to thin it out. You could also add more lime juice. You just need a little bit more liquid to loosen it up. Do a little taste test, see if we need a little bit, maybe more lime or a little salt. Tastes just right. So now all we have to do is assemble. And what I like to do first is add the dressing first to the pasta so that it fully coats the pasta. And then I can sprinkle everything else in. And then I add the parm last, because if you add it in before, it tends to sort of clump up on things. But we can just add it in, make sure it's fully coated. And because we did not skimp on the sauce here, it's not gonna dry out. So you can make this in the morning, stick it in the refrigerator, serve it later in the day, and it's still gonna be just as good, if not a little bit better, because all those flavors have a chance to hang out and mingle. But now what got me super excited about this dish is when I tested it with my continuous glucose monitor, and you can see the results right here on the screen. It was eating it by itself. I didn't pair it with any additional fat, protein, fiber, though you absolutely could. This goes great with chicken on top, just served as a meal in and of itself. Now, like I said, if you want to, if you want to download this recipe as well as my favorite dressings, I've got that linked down below. And if you give it a try, I want to hear about it. I've got a comment section. Keep me in the loop. So good. So good. I got you.